Hey guys, what's going on? Nick Kellar,
Greg Brock.
Atlas Premier Realty. Last couple times if you've been following along with us, we've been covering this B.R.R.R.R method of real estate investing, specifically to buy a house and hold it and rent it out. So we covered buy, we covered renovate, and now we're on to the second R, which is rent. So you've finished improvements to the property, you're ready to rent it out to a tenant. So how do you go about that? What do you need to be thinking about? So the first one is market rent. You want to make sure, just like selling a house, you want to make sure that your price, your rental amount is in alignment with the market that you're renting in. And you want to factor in the improvements you made. You can talk to a real estate agent. They can easily do this for you. You can do your market research on any of the home portals out there. They generally have a rent function as well. The point is you don't want to overprice it. You don't want to underprice it. You want to make sure it's in alignment based on the improvements you made.
The second one is registration. So based on where your rental is at, you're going to have possibly some local, city, and county registrations, as well as a lead-based paint registration. Some of these even include inspections, but all of them cost money. So you want to take that into account in your numbers and your timeline, but make sure you know where and how you need to register your property.
Yep, and if it's lead-based paint, it's before 78. You need
Correct.
to be registered, right?
1978 or earlier.
And if you know these things going into it, you can have, going back to the renovate portion of this, you can have your contractor get ahead of this and make these corrections before you have to have these inspections, have somebody else come out, all that stuff. So the third one is you need to make a decision on whether you're going to self-manage or have a property manager. And both of them have pros and cons. If you're self-managed, you're going to save a little bit of money because you're not paying somebody else to do it, but you're now on the hook for being the point of contact for collecting the rent, chase them down if they're late. Any repairs, as inconvenient as they might be, you're now the point of contact.
Oh, and evictions.
And evictions, right. If you have a property manager, yeah, they're going to take a percentage off the top. It's generally 10% of the gross rent collected, but they're handling all that stuff. They're just sending you a check. So you're just collecting checks at that point.
And then our fourth one, once you've gotten through all that process, made those decisions, is screening tenants. And Nick and I subscribe to the same mindset in regards to credit. Credit isn't everything. If they had great credit and could pay market rent, they probably would be buying right now.
That shit happens.
Yep. And so what we do is we look at rental history. Were they in a property for really short time periods, every 6 to 12 months, moving to a new place? And in the rental application, they're going to give you the contact information for their past landlords. I highly suggest having a conversation with not just the last landlord, but the landlord before that. And then one thing that we're talking about doing lately is to start doing site visits at their current residence to see just how they live. Do they destroy the property, or are they great tenants?
Keep the outside looking good.
Right.
Okay. And then the fifth one is long-term versus short-term. Sometimes you might not be open to short-term at all. The advantage there is you could probably charge more for the fact that you're going to have to turn it over in a shorter period of time. So that's going to be a little more inconvenient. You could probably charge more than market rent to do that service for somebody that might need a short-term rental. Or long-term. So I would say this is 12 months or more. The norm around here is about 12 months. That's usually in alignment with market rent. If somebody wants to rent it for more than 12 months, you have to make a decision. Do we keep it at that market rent for the entire term? Or do we factor in increases? Generally in our area, it's about 3% a year. So you want to think about those things.
Yeah. And then the other thing that you want to think about is if you are doing shorter term, whether it be even 12 months or 6 months or whatever it is, every time you turn over, you're probably going to have at least 30 days, a full month of rental income that you've lost.
Yep. And you want to consider how you're renewing that. So is it going month to month, year to year? You just want to make sure you're on the same page with the tenant.
The last one is systems for rent collection and repairs. If you have a property manager, if you do have a property manager, they're going to take care of all this. Again, you're only going to get a check every month, and they're going to do all of this stuff for you. But if you don't, you need to have a system in place to collect the rent. And if there's an issue at the property, how do they get in touch with you? How do they tell you what the issue is, and how do you get a contractor out there to make the repair as fast as possible? There's lots of systems out there. You can do some Google searching and find what some self managed properties, property managers use for their systems, but you need to make those decisions before you get people in there.
Just want to be efficient as possible. Make your life and the tenant's life easier. So this is the rent portion of the B.R.R.R.R method. If you have any questions on this or any of the videos we shot so far or the process as a whole, please reach out to any of us. We're happy to help. Appreciate your support.
Thanks a lot.